Hey, my name is Ivy and welcome back to my channel. The last time that I spoke to you around some decisions that I made for my 2024 beauty spending, I had a really exciting plan in place, which was that I was going to have an annual budget for the year, and it was really going to be up to me how and when I spent that money, but the budget for the year was set. And that was that. And I felt like that was going to be a really, really good path forward for me, given where I was in my sort of like last 3 months of the year beauty spending. Well, there have been some updates. And I think that it necessitates giving you an update as well, giving you a little bit of information on why things have changed, how they've changed, the reality of the fact that sometimes you do need to change your plan to fit your needs. And I changed my plan at the beginning of the year, and now about a third of the way through the year, I'm changing it again. So how did it go? I think that the first quarter, or the first, third of the year, with that sort of annual budget in mind, those first few months, I just went a little too crazy. I just went a little bit ham, kind of coming off of my low buy, no buy, which is if you watch that video, and I'll link it below, I did fail my 3-month no buy. And that is what instituted the sort of 2024 spending rules that I set for myself. And I really felt great at the time that I made that plan about how that was going to set me up for success in the future. However, I recognized behaviors in myself that were happening with that sort of unlimitedness of the spend. Even though I had a limited budget, I just wasn't reined in enough. I think I felt like originally those rules that I'd placed on myself in the last 3 months of the year were really rigid, and that is what created that sort of push and pull of like, well, I'm gonna do this, but I'm not gonna do this, and then it sort of became a slippery slope, and all of a sudden it wasn't a no buy anymore. So I was like, well, if I have money that I know is set aside, that is for the year, I'll be fine. But I could just, when you get that feeling where you're like, oh, I know what's happening here. I kind of saw myself from like 6 feet above and was just looking at myself like, Ivy, no. You are falling into old habits. You are looking for that dopamine rush that you get from having a package ship and deliver and arrive. There's a wonderful video by Born Blushing all about this entire experience and like why we crave it and what the problems with it are. And definitely recommend that video. I will link that as well. But yeah, I was just kind of getting that like dopamine rush again from being able to make purchases again. And I recognized in myself that I was falling into an old kind of habit that is just not good for me. It's just plain old not good for me. It doesn't lend itself to letting me make sure that I'm using the makeup that I have. It's really using purchasing as a way to sort of like, give you a little extra pep in your step. And I don't need that. I need to fight that urge. And one of the things that really helped me even after I decided that I needed to change up what I was doing for myself was not too long ago, Hannah Louise Poston, who is like one of my YouTube idols. I absolutely adore her. She always makes such wonderful videos on conscious consumerism. And she recently put out a video that was really just around this entire topic. Setting up a rule for yourself, finding that you were falling short on it, and then using that moment to sort of double down and reaffirm, oh, this is hard because it's supposed to be hard, and because I need to build that muscle that starts to make it feel easier. That muscle is weak right now. My like no buy muscle, it's weak. I need to build it up. Over time, I need to keep reaffirming that this is the right move. I need to keep building that muscle until it gets strong enough that I don't think about it as much anymore. That was a really helpful analogy for me, and it was definitely kind of an eye-opening moment where I was like, yes, just because this is getting a little bit harder for me to stick to doesn't mean that I need to give it up. It means that I kind of need to stick to it, because that means that I'm starting to stretch those muscles. They hurt a little, but the more I stretch them, the better they're going to feel and the stronger they're going to get. And the more into that place that my smarter self is aware of, the more into that place I will get. I decided that I needed to go on an immediate no buy structure again and be very firm about it with myself, that even if I would dick around on the internet and sort of like make carts and whatever, that like the no buy statute had to remain strong. I set it up so that it was essentially another, I'm gonna call it a 2.5 month to 3 month no buy, because right now my no buy formally in my own brain is set up through Memorial Day. And then at that point, I'm gonna reassess if I wanna continue with the no buy or if I wanna change what I'm doing. But I knew that I needed that hard reset of just straight, we're not gonna purchase anything, in order to get my brain back to where it needed to be and even stronger and better. It's been a little more like 2 months of very low purchases, but March, I think I had 3 purchases. And then in halfway through March, I was like instituting this no buy. And then so far from then until April, today's the 17th. So far, we are clear and free, no purchases. And I have to say, I am really proud of myself. It may not seem like a big accomplishment to everyone, but the fact that I've kind of muddled through the Sephora sale time and now the Ulta sale time, and the fact that we've had quite a few really difficult things going on in the back end of our lives, which I'm not going to get into the details of, but suffice it to say, some retail therapy probably would have felt nice. I have remained strong. I have reaffirmed for myself that I set those rules up when my brain was very strong, and that I want to keep it very strong, and that the no buy structure is just what I need right now. That doesn't mean I'm going to continue on for a no buy for an indefinite period of time, but right now I can tell and I feel like it's certainly what I needed, and I'm really, really pleased with how it's going. I'm glad that I was smart enough and aware enough of my bad habits that I was able to reset and make that structure. So I wanted to give you an update also on an item that I ended up purchasing before I instituted my no buy, which I know many of you were interested in and keeping your eyes open for. I ended up just sort of purchasing it kind of randomly one day. I decided that I really wanted it and I thought it was really cool and I was going to go for it. I bought this little water ripple palette. This is from the cbeauty brand Color Rose. It's a brand that I'd never purchased from before. I got it through the website cbeauty Mall, and it is this little tiny itty bitty baby palette. It has this very cool kind of water ripple cover on it. I got this before I set up my no buy. I'm here to tell you that this is meh. It's meh. I really can't think of a better word. It's the kind of thing where if I had just wish listed it and waited and maybe saw if somebody else picked it up and what their reviews of it were, I would not have purchased it and I would have saved myself some money. There's nothing inherently bad about this palette. It's just not particularly special, apart from the packaging being kind of cool. Most of the shades I found to be really not impactful, like these lighter pastels. Usually I actually don't have that difficult of a time with lighter pastel shades if the formula is good, and these did not show up on me at all. I mean, at all. To the point where I had packed on so much product that my eyes looked cakey, which never happens to me. So that to me is a real sign that just like the formula of the shadows here is just not, it's just not stellar. So these are the two lighter shimmers in the palette, and then there's a black with gold kind of flecks running through it. And they're fine. Like they're not, I mean, actually I'd say they're less than fine. I mean, that is meh if I ever saw meh in existence. They're nothing. They're nothing to sneeze at. They're nothing to note. They're just not that exciting. This is one of those things where if I had been in sort of a better mental place about my purchases, if I hadn't just impulse bought something, if I'd really thought about it, if I'd taken more time to compare things in my collection, and if I hadn't been so kind of just enamored of the packaging, that it's a purchase I would never have made. This is why it's important to have those self-set rules for yourself. This ultimately is going to be something that I do not reach for because it's not that great of a quality. I did want to give a comparison though, because interestingly enough, this was quite a while ago. I actually picked up, I have two palettes from this brand. I've talked about this brand a little bit before as well. This is from the brand Joocyee. So Joocyee is another Asian beauty brand, but it happens to be one that I have found really stellar. I think the quality surpasses the price, and I think that the innovation that's happening with this brand is really interesting and cool. And I had decided that because I'd picked up an earlier palette from them that I really enjoyed, that I wanted to get another one of their palettes. And this one, I think it's called like Pink Dunes or Sand Dunes or whatever. I'll figure out what it is and I'll make sure I put it in the description box. But it's just a really pretty, really nice neutral little baby palette here. Perfect for travel, great for somebody who's looking to do a very basic bitch look. Like, it's great. I love it. I'm super excited about it. It's what I have on my eyes today. I did a super basic bitch look today, so that fits, that tracks. The other one that I have from them, I think I've shown it on Instagram, is like their other palette from this limited release, and it's more cool tones with that really, really pretty pink sparkle in it. That, by the way, is gorgeous. Both of these palettes did the opposite of the Color Rose palette. They surpassed my expectations. These, I had probably minimal expectations for what I was hoping to get out of them, and they ended up being so much better than that. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll swatch for you just really quick, because I know we all love swatches. I just found these shades to be so much better quality, so much prettier, so much softer, easier to work with. Just really nice shimmer shades. And I don't know what I was expecting, but the quality definitely surpassed my expectations. This was a fail. The Joocyee palettes were successes, and now I am comfortably on my no buy, and that's the world that we are living in. Despite being on my no buy, I'm doing a lot of heavy wish listing. 9 times out of 10, I end up deleting things off my wish list just a couple months later, or even less, because that itch has passed. That sort of goo eye effect has left the building, and I'm just left with like, why did I want that? I don't want that anymore. So wish listing, I personally do find to be a super helpful strategy. It certainly helps curb that impulse purchasing that you can maybe have happen, especially when you feel like you need a little bit of that dopamine. Wish listing helps. It really does give you sort of like a bird's eye view later on of your brain and how it works. I just have found so many things that I added to that I actually really had no desire to buy, and I'm glad that I didn't buy it. I do have a semi-lengthy wish list at this point. It's actually gotten a lot shorter recently because, again, I reviewed it. I took a bunch of things off. I was like, no. But there's some things on it that have stuck around, or some new things that I'm sort of interested in, like Wynn Beauty. I just sort of got wind of Wynn. I got wind of Wynn, and I'm like, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. There are some things on there, and I think I might do a separate video soon, just kind of talking through my wish list with you, whether or not I can talk myself out of things, not purchasing anything, because again, we're on our no buy and we're staying strong. But I kind of like those videos where people talk you through their wish list and then hem and haw about whether or not they want to buy something. I have a few other, video series planned. I'm definitely going to be doing an update on how my 1 week 1 palette project is going. I've been doing a lot more of the live updates on Instagram. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram, definitely check me out over there, because I do give weekly and daily updates on the 1 week 1 palette project, which is going pretty well. I did have a little bit of a pause, but I'm going back to it now. That's going decently well. So I want to give more of a summarization of how the first few months of the year have gone with that project. And then, of course, Roast and Toast always in the background. I'll be doing another one of those very soon. I have a lot that I want to talk about. I'm not going to make any promises. I never do about scheduling or how often I'll be able to upload. Life is life. I film when I can film, and I hope that's okay. And if you do like my style, I hesitate to say my vibe, but because I overuse the word vibe, but if you kind of felt like you got to know me a little bit in this video, if this is your first time here, I would definitely appreciate if you consider subscribing and hanging around, because this is kind of more like the content that I make, which is just kind of chatting, talking with you, talking about products, my relationship with makeup, and I would really love to have you be around here. So if you haven't subscribed, definitely think about it. Consider it. I'd love to have you here. With all that said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, this like random mishmash update on my beauty buying life. I would love if you could let me know in the comments about how your beauty buying life is going right now. Whether you're on a no buy, you're on a high buy, you're shopping the sales, you're ignoring the sales, you're, duping the vibes, whatever it is, I want to know what you're doing. Please let me know in the comments. I love to be nosy and just know what you're up to. So thank you so much again for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next one, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Bye.